कोविड-19 ਦੇ ओमिक्रॉन वेरिएंट ਕਾਰਨ ਤੇਜ਼ੀ ਨਾਲ ਵਧ ਰਹੇ ਮਾਮਲਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਧਿਆਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਰੱਖਦਿਆਂ ਤਿੰਨ ਵੱਡੀਆਂ 에ਅਰਲਾਈਨਸ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਦਰਜਨਾਂ ਫਲਾਈਟਸ ਨੂੰ ਰੱਦ ਕਰ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਹੈ। 에ਅਰਲਾਈਨਸ ਦਾ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਛੁੱਟੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਇਸ ਰੁਝੇਵਿਆਂ ਭਰੇ ਸੀਜ਼ਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਫਲਾਈਟਸ ਕ੍ਰੂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਖਤਰਾ ਹੈ। ਜ਼ਿਕਰਯੋਗ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਦੇ ਹੈਲਥ ਅਧਿਕਾਰੀਆਂ ਦਾ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ओमिक्रॉन वेरिएंट ਦੇ ਪਸਾਰ ਨਾਲ ਦੇਸ਼ ਅੰਦਰ ਕੋਰੋਨਾ ਦੇ ਕੇਸ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਵੱਧ ਸਕਦੇ ਨੇ।
We had the first flight out this morning, so we thought we'd be okay.
It was a little stressful, but we made it. We're here.
Waiting for your bags a little longer than usual. But other than that, the flight was great.
Really have an infectious period of about 10 days. However, narrowing it down to 7 days, since we know that the peak is at the onset of symptoms, certainly makes sense, and certainly makes sense for healthcare workers who will be donned in the most absolute PPE possible while they're at work, unlike others.
Get vaccinated now. It's free. It's convenient. I promise you, it saves lives. And I honest to God believe it's your patriotic duty.
Well, there are a few things. The one that would be immediate is to make sure, given the rapid spread of this extraordinary variant, that we don't get an overrun on hospitals, particularly in those regions in which you have a larger proportion of unvaccinated individuals. We want to make sure that, given the sheer volume of number of cases that you see now every day, it goes up and up. The last weekly average was about 150,000, and it likely will go much higher. The president's multi-part component of the response is to make sure that we have adequate backup for hospitals with military personnel, doctors, nurses, and other healthcare providers, making sure that there's enough PPE and that if needed, there's enough ventilators in the national strategic stockpile. Those are the things that are immediate. Obviously, testing, John, is going to be very important, that we get a greater capability of testing, particularly when the demand for testing is so high. We're at a combination of the Omicron variant itself, as well as the holiday season, where people want to get that extra level of assuredness that they're protected, even if you are vaccinated and boosted. One of the problems is that that's not going to be totally available to everyone until we get to January, and there are still some issues now of people having trouble getting tested. But we're addressing the testing problem, and that very soon that will be corrected. At the beginning of the administration, the beginning of the year, there were essentially no rapid point-of-care home tests available. Now there are over 9 of them and more coming. The production of them has been rapidly upscaled, and yet because of the demand that we have, which in some respects, John, is good, that we have a high demand, because we should be using testing much more extensively than we have, even in a situation where you have people who are vaccinated or boosted. But the situation where you have such a high demand, a conflation of events, Omicron stirring people to get appropriately concerned and wanting to get tested, as well as the fact of the run-on tests during the holiday season. We've obviously got to do better. I mean, I think things will improve greatly as we get into January, but that doesn't help us today and tomorrow. So you're right, that is something that is of concern. It depends on what you want to use it for. I mean, vaccine requirements for people coming in from other countries is to prevent newly infected people from getting into the country. A vaccine requirement for a person getting on the plane is just another level of getting people to have a mechanism that would spur them to get vaccinated. Namely, you can't get on a plane unless you're vaccinated, which is just another one of the ways of getting requirements, whatever that might be. So, I mean, anything that could get people more vaccinated would be welcome.